Yeah, probably. Who's played Mercury on the PSP? Right. Hands up who thinks there's only 6 worlds of levels. Right, there's not. There's a 7th one. A whole 7th world of levels, and to get to it you've got to go down through the middle of the main hub at the centre of the game, and you go underneath it, and there's this amazing world of levels. Some of the levels are just completely bonkers. Yeah, you have to see them to believe them. I can't really describe them, but they are absolutely mental. They're there for the real freaks of this world.
Any more questions?
Go on.
We've got people like Jason Kelk at the back of the room who's still programming new games on the Commodore 64 and old systems like that. If, for instance, the C64 app on the iPhone became, sold 1 million, would you like to program back on the old machines?
Yeah, but Manamia, who are doing the 64 emulator, I'm kind of talking to them about doing drop zone and stuff anyway, so hopefully that'll happen. And Arcade Plus. But first of all, I've got to deal with an idiot who runs Systems 3 who still thinks he owns it, and he doesn't, for the record. I've got the legal paperwork in the bag. So yeah, I can see that.
Would you not prefer to do an iPhone specific version of
No, it'd be far better to use all the balance and timing of the original one and just change the input system. To actually rewrite it would probably take, I hate to think, months. I'd probably rather do something a bit more high tech if I was going to start from scratch on the iPhone 20. So, Colin.
Did you have another programmer lined up to do IK Plus, or IK originally, or was it always your project?
As in...
Well, the story is that Mark Cal already had another team working on International
IK1?
On the original, yeah.
No, anything else is brown colour basically. What happened was John here, who isn't here today unfortunately to justify this story, he was contracted to do it, and he didn't get paid. And after about 3 months of not getting paid, he thought, I'll bugger this, and just walked off. And then I got called up because I was in Zap at the time for Drop Zone, and the general idea was, pop down the office, we want you to do a couple of sprites and a bit of graphics. And that turned out to be, actually, could you rewrite the whole game from scratch? And it's nothing to do with the Spectrum version, which is another myth. It's completely fresh code reversed into the Drop Zone engine, believe it or not. And I didn't find out that John was involved until 20 years later. But it's absolutely nothing to do with code. So, no, unfortunately.
And if you play the C64 game Galaxy Birds, the sprites, some of the sprites that John had created are actually shrunk down and used in that game as enemies.
Yeah, I just wish John was here to actually answer some of these questions, because he has the same problems with a certain same person as I do. But yeah, that's history for you, 26 years of history. So.
Any more questions? Anyone else? Mike?
Yeah, there's you mentioned a few times about the episode arcade machine.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about
Yeah, it does exist. Not quite sure who's seen that. Darren, have you seen that?
No, I'm still waiting for that one. Right?
No, hang on. There's a picture of it published in Edge or Retro, one of the magazines.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it you, Paul? Yeah. Okay, so you've yeah.
I don't beat you.
Yeah, it really does exist. Yeah, and it was originally done in 1985 for an arcade in Luton. We made 10 of them, and it was supposed to be tested alongside Defender and the other games at the time. But around about the same time as it was made, the arcade industry collapsed in on itself, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, the one that's at my house has got revised graphics on the side of it, but it is the arcade version of Drop Zone. It's got all sorts of coin logic on it, and it was designed to be a damn time more difficult after a minute and a half, as arcade ones are. And it also had a self-demoing mode, which the original didn't have. So yeah, it does exist. Yeah, it's the exact same game with knobs on it, extensions all over the place. So yeah.
The extra world. Why do you go through all that trouble to build something that people aren't going to see?
Because Mercury 1's got 72 levels on it, split into 6 worlds of 12, and there's a bonus level. We actually generated something like 130 levels, but due to certain publishers saying, get it out the door tomorrow, we chopped a lot of them out. But what we decided to do was take some of the more adventurous extra levels and hide them beneath the main ones. and they're all in there. But one of them is just surreal. You've just got to see it to believe it. Yeah, I wish I bought the video now.
Is the publisher aware of that?
I'm not sure actually. Because normally when you submit a game to Sony or something like that, it's a 3-month process, and they always want to know every aspect of the game, all the cheats and everything, otherwise you get slaughtered. So yeah, they did know, but I'm not sure whether the publisher bothered to look, to be honest. So yeah, good point. I'm not sure.
Got one more. Have you seen the IK Plus tribute video on YouTube with some nutters running around dressed as nutting each other?
I've seen loads. There's an orchestra in Germany somewhere that are singing it, and they've got a screen on the background. It's the Leipzig Orchestra or something, and they've got a screen showing the game playing, and all these very serious people with bow ties and stuff singing it. I mean, yeah, weird. And then just last week, one of the guys from Blitz sent me a video that's got like 3 million hits, and it's got Lego men dressed as the IK Plus characters. And I just thought, wow, there's some real serious nutters out there who've got way too much time.
Yeah, that's the 8-bit trick video.
That's it, yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Which apparently took 15,000 hours.
Yeah, there's another one where a guy, he's used the 16-bit version of Amiga IK Plus, and he's got this guy coming on, and he sort of gets a bit bored and looks at the screen and starts bouncing the ball around. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, he rolls over on a ball and there's 3 of them fighting.
Yeah. But that guy did that as a labour of love, and then sent it in as a CV thing to Blitz, and they gave him a job because of it. So yeah, I actually emailed him and said, well done. Well done, my son.
What else he was German or Finnish or something?
No, he wasn't. He was playing ordinary English bloke. So,
there's no one then.
no, but there's some nutters out there, especially in Sweden and Finland. Anyone from Sweden here? Before I insult everybody today.
Have you worked with anyone who was influenced to get into games by yourself?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I know one of the lads who's working for me at the moment definitely came into the interview years and years ago, gushing about all these games he'd played, including all my ones. But when people do that, I usually ask him a trick question or two, and he really did. He really knew his stuff. So yeah, maybe he did. I don't know. I'll have to ask him tomorrow. Monday. Good question. Come on in, more questions.
Any more? Come on.
That man there with the camera. A show for Jeff.
I've got more questions.
Yeah, go on.
Speed Zone, do you see that as being running through future iterations? Can you see Speed Zone 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, I mean, it is just a one SKU game. It's just a little old game on the Wii. We hope that Speed Zone 2 happens, because we have actually put about 4 months into it. But the market for all the consoles at the moment is radically changing. And unfortunately, publishers don't like taking risks on machines that are possibly on the way out because of replacements. And I keep on getting asked things like, well, why don't you do it on the PS3? Well, how do you challenge GTA 5 with a £50 million development budget? That's a very difficult market to break into.
But in one way, you can say, let's not challenge them, let's do something different.
Well, that's what we did on the Wii.
Because
it cost a hell of a lot less to do it on the Wii, and we actually think we've given them a more fun, playable game, as opposed to one that's full of 50 million polygons trying to look as realistic as possible.
Some of the comparisons you get with Speed Zone, a lot of people have said F-Zero on the Wii.
Yeah.
A lot of people have said Wipeout on the Wii.
Or Roll Cage.
Personally, I think it's like Mario Kart for grown-ups. Which of those, which comparisons do you like to hear?
All 4 sound good to me. Yeah, I mean, F-Zero is obviously is quite a game to be compared to. I mean, that is just an all-time favourite. Roll Cage, to some extent, although that's, 7 or 8 years old now. And Wipeout, well, you're just floating along. There's no physics, where we actually have got wheels, suspension, gravity, and controllability, and you can drift the car like a real one, whereas in Wipeout, you sort of magnetically bounce off everything, which is, it's fun if you want a very fast visual experience, but personally I prefer to feel using a Wiimote, what you're doing around the track. So yeah.
Would you be shocked or appreciate it if Nintendo approached you and said, would you like to do F-Zero on the Wii?
Yeah, great. We call it F-Wheelspin or something.
Archer Mclean's F-Zero,
Yeah,
definitely.
well, that'd be great. Just put the word out for me.
Is there any possibility of doing it on Xbox Live?
Wheelspin. Well, it would be straightforward to do. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'll look into it one day.
Could you do a lot internet options